Welcome to the next unit. So this is unit 5 of Real Shanghai Mathematics Practice Book 1.1, which is produced by Collins. You will need to purchase the book, and as mentioned in the details below, this can be purchased from Amazon or secondhand eBay. And in fact, you can get often a bargain on eBay, a secondhand, very good condition, which hasn't been written on. So moving on to unit 5, which is a consolidation and enhancing. That's the title of this, and it's split up into 6 parts, and then at the end there's an appendix as well. So the first part is calculations, and by consolidating and enhancing, it's just going through the material that has already been learned, and by practice they should be getting better. And so it should be straightforward. So the first one is calculation, and the calculations there 2 plus 7. So these are combinations of single digit answers and double digit answers. And a reminder for double digit answers like 8 plus 5, your child should be doing 8 plus 2 plus 3, and you will need to watch that and encourage that to be done. Unless your child is very good at it already and can do it very quickly, then that's fine. If your child is struggling and it's taking quite a while to do it, or they're using their fingers, now's the time to remind them to do 8 plus 2 plus 3. Even if they're using their fingers to do it, still go with 8 plus 2, then plus 3. And remind them that if you've done 8 plus 2, it's already 10. So they just need to focus on the last one, which is 8 plus 2 plus 3. If it's plus 3, it's 13. If the ending is plus 9, then it's 19, and so on and so forth. When they're doing addition by getting it to the tens and moving on from there. And then you've also got subtractions, and again, if it's single digit, it should be straightforward. So 18 minus 7, that's 8 minus 7, and the 10 remains there. And if they need to count backwards, then fine. But again, if you need to take it to a 10, for example, 18 minus 9 is 18 minus 8 minus 1. Moving on to question 2, think about patterns that fill in the missing numbers. So 9 plus 2. So in this case, everything is being added by 2. So 9 plus 2 is 11. 10 plus 2 is 12, and then 13, and so on and so forth. And they hopefully can see a pattern between them developing. And then plus 6 is exactly the same. 4 plus 6, and then where it says 4, 5, 6, 7 at the below, they should have 8 there as well. So none of the boxes should be empty. So the last one would be 8 plus 6, and so on and so forth. And a reminder to yourselves and to me as well, and for your child, is to be careful and look at the symbol. So they do need to concentrate on that, because sometimes children don't concentrate on the symbol, but it's very important. So they need to make sure is it a plus? If it's plus, it's getting bigger. Is it a minus? If it's minus, it's getting smaller. They need to concentrate on this, otherwise they will keep making mistake where they are doing the wrong calculation. And then moving on to the next one, which is comparing numbers. So these are larger than or smaller than, which I've talked about several times, but I mention it here again. So do remember that this is equal distance between them. So these two numbers are the same. Here, there's a bigger distance between these two endpoints of the line. So this is the larger number, and these are joined. So smaller number, again, smaller number here, and a larger number in here, because these are further away. Very important. And just a reminder in case anybody's struggling with it, but it comes again and again and again. And we'll get to a stage where I'm not going to really go through this information again, and should be really expected. Then moving on from there, counting the numbers on the next side, which is 4, and the other one is 5, and then you put the right symbol. So 4 is greater than 5, and so on and so forth. So the first example has been done. Write greater than, equal, or less than in each box. Again, should be straightforward. Question 2, and then write greater, equal, or less than in each box for the number 3. For the number 3, the 10 plus 7 is 17, so you can work at 17 and then put the number there. Or where your child, for something like 10 plus 7, it may not need to work it out. They know 10 plus something is going to be bigger than 10. They just put the symbol in there. That's absolutely fine. And in fact, I think that's a better way of doing it. Why do a calculation when it's not needed? And it shows that your child is learning smart ways of doing things. If they're not sure, like 20 for that one, 1 plus 19, I mean, they're close to each other, so they should work it out. In this case, 1 plus 19 is 20, so it's equal. But if it's clear cut, as I say, like 10 plus 7 and 10, then they now need to do a calculation. Again, 8 minus 4 is, they need to do the calculations because it's close by. Whereas 16 minus 6 and 16, then clearly 16 minus 6 will be less than 16, so they don't need to work it out. But if they work it out, as I say, the most important thing is working it out and getting it right. So if your child doesn't work every single one out, or some other child's pick up that kind of technique or make sense to them, that they will know it without working the answer out, then that's absolutely fine. And then moving on to 4, which is again the same thing. And again, if your child picks up patterns like 7 plus 8 and 7 plus 9, obviously plus 9 is going to be bigger than plus 8 when the first digit is the same. Again, fine, don't have to work it out. If they're not sure, work it out. Again, 2 plus 5, 5 plus 2, don't need to work it out because we already established adding in any order makes no difference. It'll be the same. And again, and these questions are important in regards to that, trying to develop your child's skills regarding that. And if you want to mention it to your child, that's another way of doing it. Not a problem. But as I say, if your child is struggling, not a problem. The main thing here is really about drilling down these techniques, drilling down these, getting familiar with these adding and subtracting, and being very comfortable with these additions and subtraction, and particularly adding to 10 first and then adding on, because this will come again and again and again and again, and getting into good habits is very important, and they'll find the other material much easier. But the other way around, they've got plenty of time to pick this up. So number 3 is double and half, and although they mentioned about consolidation in terms of not new material, this is actually new material, hasn't been covered, but again, it's straightforward. So they're just showing you what doubling will mean. In this case, count the dots and draw the matching pattern. So double in this case will mean copying from one side to the same side. So the first one is just about copying. Second one is about drawing dots, and it's shown you 2 circles, first one, and then you can put 2 circles on the top and the bottom, and then they add them together. That's what doubling means. And halving will be the opposite of that, which I have not mentioned yet at the moment. And 4 against 4 circles, and 5 circles, and so on and so forth. Should be straightforward. And filling in the numbers. Number 3 is a very good exercise. 1 double of 1 is 2, 2 double of 2 is 4, and so on and so forth. And the opposite of doubling is halving, and this is very well shown in terms of the arrows pointing there, the relationship between doubling and halving. And so for the 8, they will have to halve that. What number added by itself gives you 8, and that's 4, and getting them familiar with that. Number 4, fill in the missing numbers. The number of balloons I have is double of 5, so getting them familiar with the term double. Number of balloons I have, double the number the monkey has, so you need to count what monkey has, and so on and so forth. It should be fairly straightforward in page 69. And then moving on to question 4 or part 4, where it's let's do addition. So more practice with addition here. First one is equal to 10. So these are different ways of adding to 10. So you could have 0 plus 10 here, 5 plus 5 here, 3 plus 7 here, and so on and so forth. Absolutely fine. And then different ways of adding to 15. Again, they can choose any numbers, but don't just write the same number again and again. So don't just put 0 plus 15, 0 plus 15. But if they want to have a pattern 0 plus 15, 1 plus 14, not a problem. Any numbers here would be fine. And then moving on to question 2, find the pattern to fill in the missing number sentences, then calculate the answer. So these are just about patterns. So the first one is 6 plus 3, and the next one is 8 plus 3. So obviously the one in between will be 7 plus 3. So you're just looking at patterns. And then if they're going down the column, you got 6 plus 3. The next one will be 6 plus 4, 6 plus 5, and then across the column, same pattern will be used. So if the other one was 6 plus 5, this one will be 7 plus 5 across, and then the other one will be 8 plus 5, and then you can do the middle one. So just about recognizing patterns. And also it mentions about calculating it, so write the calculations below it as well. So 6 plus 3 equals 9, and so on and so forth. And again, they can see the pattern in terms of the answers. And then the same thing applies for the other one as well, where 7 plus 4, 8 plus 4 has been done. 7 plus 4 going down is 7 plus 4, 7 plus 5, so the next one will be 7 plus 6, and so on and so forth. And then the other one that's boxed there would be 6 plus 5 would be the one before 7 plus 5, 8 plus 5, and so on and so forth. And then moving on to the next section, which is to do with subtraction. So very similar concept here. Equals 5, so different ways of equals 5. So that's 10 take away 5, or 6 take away 1, and so on and so forth to get that. And then 9 equals 9, which is encouraging them to use double digits. So whether that's 19 take away 10, or whether that's 13 take away 4, again, doesn't matter as long as they're not writing the same numbers again and again, and they realize that there are different ways of doing it. And then moving on to question 2, again, looking for pattern recognition. So for the square one, 11 take away 3, and then after that, there's a missing the 13 take away 3. Well, the 3's remain the same, so it's going to be 11 take away 3, next one will be 12 take away 3, and then again do the answers, and then going downwards, got 13 take away 3, 14 take away 4, and that will have to be 15 take away 5. And then again, you can see the patterns there. and again 13 take away 7 for the other shape, 14 take away 8, so the one below that will be 15 take away 9, and at the right, the top will be following that pattern will be 12 take away 6. So it's about pattern recognition, which is very important in math, and don't forget to write the answers as well. And then the final bit within this section of consolidation is 6, which is writing number sentences. So calculations, fill in the missing numbers. Again, they give you a variety of ways of saying the same thing. So you could have said calculating, filling the missing numbers, getting them familiar with kind of word sentences that are used in maths again and again. Number 2, look at the pictures and write suitable number sentences. So the first one, which is the mugs, so you can have 3, and the other one is 7. So 3 plus 7 equals 10. Just reminded that 3 plus 7 equals 10. We can also write that as 7 plus 3 equals 10. So that gives you that. And then in terms of subtraction, you always go with the total. So go with the total, which is 10. 10 minus 3 equals 7, or 10 minus 7 equals 3. So getting familiar with that. And you do exactly the same thing in terms of the balls, where it will be 4 plus 3. That can be written as 3 plus 4. And then the total could be 7 take away 3 and 7 take away 4, and so on and so forth. And then same with the pairs. And then moving on to question 3, choose 3 of the numbers given below and use them to write 2 addition sentences and 2 subtraction sentences. Write at least three groups of number sentences. So it gives you a variety of numbers here and tell you what to do with those. Choose 3 of the numbers given below and use them to write 2 additions. These 3 groups of number sequences here. Okay, so I don't think it's too need to be too fussed in terms of how you do this, but don't go past the 20. So for addition, you could do 14 plus choose a small number, 14 plus 6, so go up to 20. Don't try not to go above 20 as a child. That's not the material that's been covered. And then you can go the way around 20 take away 6. And again, as we mentioned before, in terms of addition, anyway around, and then subtraction similar to the ones before. But as I say, try to do a combination which doesn't let them go above 20. So with the 7 plus 16, that's fine, or so 7 plus 6, which is 13, that's fine, or whether that's 14 plus 6, again, that would be fine, or any other combination like 8 plus 7, 8 plus 6, and so on and so forth. Don't go above 20. Question 4, look at the pictures and write down 2 addition sentences and 2 subtraction sentences. Complete the calculations. Again, should be fairly straightforward. The point is getting a habit of doing number sentences. So you can do large with small, or you can do large different colors. So the white ones are 3 and the other ones are however many they are, and that can be a number sentence or even a takeaway. That's not an issue. And then moving on to the last bit, which is not actually part of the unit, it's just right at the end as an appendix, just writing practice for your child, particularly if they are struggling or just want extra practice. There's a few pages there of showing you how to write, which the child would have had plenty of practice in terms of writing it anyway when you're doing the questions, but this is additional practice for them as well. And with that, we end the Unit 5, and Practice Book 1.1 has ended. As you can say, fairly short book, but I quite like these Real Shanghai Mathematics. If you feel they need extra practice, this will also help you with the areas that they need extra practice for. And if you want further worksheets, then do let me know. Please bear in mind, as I've said before, actually, the Real Shanghai Mathematics Year 1, Year 2 are generally higher than the equivalent at school level. Also bear in mind there are 2 books for each year, so technically it could take a year to do 2 books. It shouldn't take that long. Your child can go much quicker than that, but bear that in mind in case you're getting frustrated because your child isn't making as much progress as you feel like it. Bear in mind that your child, if you're going through these books, is most likely to be well ahead of your peers, or if they are struggling with anything in particular, they are likely to catch up very quickly, or you can identify that, and in my opinion they will be well ahead as long as they don't have any special needs, which means that they're struggling even with things like counting, etc., which obviously will make things more difficult. But generally speaking, if your child is able to count and do simple additions, then you should make very good progress. And with that, I'll end this here. Please do like and subscribe and share it to people that you feel might be useful, and please write a comment as well. And we'll soon be moving on to 1.2, which will be the second book in the year one. And again, mention again and again, I'll mention again, please make sure that you do it frequently, but very short lessons, 30 minutes a day. If you did it on a regular basis, occasionally missing it would be more than enough, and the child will make excellent progress. It's more about doing it frequently and less. And really, one-to-one tuition by yourself going through that is far, far more productive than your child having to sit in a class where there are other children there as well, and your teacher has to teach many children who are varying abilities, and also needs to cater for them is much more difficult. So with that, I end. Thank you for your time.